Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I am beyond excited for today's video because I'm going to be doing the battle of the rainbow eyeshadow palettes. I proposed an idea for this in a video like a month and a half ago, and I swear every single day since then I've gotten comments asking me when this video is going up, which makes me really excited. I'm glad that you guys like the idea. I've been working on this since I proposed the idea a month or so ago. I've got all my notes, I've got all my thoughts in my head as I've been using these palettes. I did film this eye look that you see today. I obviously was very inspired by the idea of this video and doing a rainbow, so I did a rainbow eye look, and I did it with the Certified Tropical Wonders. Before I talk about each palette individually, I just wanted to mention very quickly that every single palette that I'm talking about today is cruelty-free. I will also, as I'm going through, mention which palettes are vegan. I took the time to look that up, which is kind of frustrating because a lot of brands don't have it like right front and center like vegan. You have to search for it. So if I missed any palettes that are vegan, please feel free to let me know down below. As far as the palettes go, I kind of just went through my entire palette collection, and I just tried to see, like, I tried to pick palettes that I felt like had the entire rainbow, that had like a little yellow, a little purple, a little pink, a little blue, a little green, a little bit of everything. I didn't go through, like, if I have like a monochromatic green palette, like that's not a rainbow palette to me, that's just a colorful palette. So this is specifically just palettes that are like a bunch of different shades of the rainbow and only a few of each. Like if I have a palette that's like half purple and half green, that's not the rainbow either to me. So I just wanted to kind of tell you my thought process. So let's just go ahead and jump on into the palettes now. Alright, so the first palette I'm going to be talking about today is the Violet Voss Sugar Crystals palette, which just looks like this. This retails for $42 and it has 1.14 ounces of product. It does have a little mirror on the inside here, which is super cute, and I love the packaging overall. So I will just start off by saying that this palette is definitely one of my favorites. I feel like it is an amazing palette. You do have a limited amount of matte shades compared to the shimmers, but I feel like this is very, very beginner friendly because it's super easy to create a colorful look and still just not really have to think about it. I love using these in the crease, this all over the lid, and this on the inner corner. Of course, you can mix and match and you can play with the tones and get creative. I also think that this is a great companion palette if you have any neutrals and you just want to dip your toes in a little bit of colorful shades. I think that this would be great for that. The matte formula is more like buildable. It can get vibrant, but it's definitely super easy to blend and work with, which is one of the reasons I say it's beginner friendly. I feel like the metallics are super foiled, and I love applying them with my finger. I think that they are beautiful. A lot of these lighter shades are more duochromy, and also the only like more neutral shade in here is this one called Pearberry, and this is actually one of my favorites. It's such a beautiful peachy shade. It's a unique tone, and I love putting Pearberry all in my crease, and then orange cream or strawberry on the lid. I kind of go back and forth between those two for that look. I feel like it ends up being really pretty. So this is one of my favorites. Like I said, it's definitely more heavy on the shimmers, but it's really easy to work with, and I love all the looks that I've done with it. Alright, the next palette that I have to mention is the Pinky Rose Cosmetics Bright Lights palette, and this retails for $24.99. I could not find the amount of product in this palette anywhere. It is not on the packaging, it's not on the website. So unfortunately I cannot tell you that. I know not everyone cares about that, but I was just trying to do my due diligence with reviewing all of these because some have way less product than others. It does have a little mirror in there, but it's very small. You could probably do your eyes with it, but it's not very big. And here's what it looks like. Again, just a pretty true rainbow palette. You have like one of each tone, except maybe a few more of like blue shades. So you could probably do something monochromatically or two-toned blue and green, but overall you pretty much have the full rainbow here. This palette does have 3 pressed glitters, which is not my favorite, but I feel like the formula of the pressed glitters isn't bad. It does have kind of a tacky base to it, and this one shade Cupcake is really beautiful. It's a very unique glitter, so they're definitely not my favorite thing to have in a palette, but I don't hate the formula of those. Overall, I like this palette, but I feel like you have to be a little bit more careful with the matte shades. They are more on the sheer side. Some of them blend easier than others. Some of them are a little bit dusty, like this pink here. I remember being just a little bit dusty, and like you just have to be careful, and you want to pack on more than you blend in order to get these shadows to work. I do think that they're nice, but I don't think it's the best rainbow palette out there. I really do enjoy, though. They have a pop of shimmer right here called Glitz, and it's like a minty shimmer, which I think is really beautiful, and it's a unique twist to add in. And then there is this shimmer here, which is not my favorite. I kind of had difficulty working with this. I just felt like it wasn't very intense. And then other than that and the pressed glitters, everything else is matte. So you do have a lot of matte options here. So I would say this palette would be good for someone who just really enjoys these colors. And probably I would say someone a little bit more advanced. This isn't a palette that I would recommend to a beginner, because I just feel like you kind of have to pack on and just be very careful when you're blending these shades. So overall, I do like it, and I think you can get some really beautiful looks. Alright, next I wanted to go ahead and talk about the Strobe Cosmetics Creepy Cute palette. So this one is vegan. It retails for $35, and it has 0.423 ounces of product. Super cute little packaging, and it does have a really nice size mirror in here. I feel like you could definitely do your makeup with that. And here is what the inside looks like. I wanted to include this because I feel like this is the pastel rainbow. There's a purple, a blue, a green, another green, a pink, and an orange. I know it's not every single shade in the rainbow, but I still included this just because I feel like it is the best pastels. Like, I love them so much. They're so easy to work with, extremely pigmented. I just love every single look that I end up doing with these. I think that they're just amazing quality. So if you are looking for, you know, a variety of colors in one palette and you really enjoy pastels, I definitely recommend this. There is a pop of black and a pop of gray, which are a little bit random in here, but I do actually like those shadows as well. I don't use the gray very much, but I think this black is really nice and easy to blend and everything. So I do really enjoy this palette. It is an indie brand, and I feel like the quality is just really great. They do have affiliate codes in sales and stuff, so you can definitely get it for less than $35. And I just think it's worth it. Oh, and these shades are all available as singles now. I forgot to mention that. I think that they're $5 or $6 each. So even if you just want to grab one or two of these, I think that they're amazing quality. So this is what I would recommend to someone looking for pastels. Alright, next is the Certified Tropic Wonders palette, and this retails for 30 pounds or $42. It has 0.9 ounces of product, and it is vegan as well. So this is an all matte palette, just looks like this. It's actually the palette that I have on my eyes today, and I honestly love this palette. The more I use it, the more I love it. I have been using it a ton lately, and I just feel like the shades are super vibrant, and I just have no problem blending them out. I think that they perform really well. They mix together with each other really well. They're more of a buildable formula, I would say. I normally go in with like 2 or 3 layers to get it super opaque, but they also blend out amazing at the same time. So I kind of really enjoy that type of formula. I just think overall it's really beautiful. It is definitely a little bit higher up on the price tag, especially if you factor in the shipping. If you're located in the United States, the shipping from the UK, I think it's not that bad. I think it ends up being like $8 or $6 or something along those lines, but that's for untracked shipping. So if you do track shipping or you do faster shipping, it is going to get a lot higher. It's something to keep in mind. Oh, actually they are sold on Beauty Bay as well. I'm not sure if this one in particular is sold on Beauty Bay. It's only a few of their palettes, but I'll link it down below if it is. So overall, I really like it. I think it's a really great matte rainbow palette. I would honestly definitely recommend it if that's something you're looking for. I feel like this is a rainbow palette through and through. Alright, next is the NYX Ultimate Shadow Palette in Brights, which just looks like this. So this is more of an affordable option. It's $18, but it does only have 0.32 ounces of product, which is way less than a lot of the others. So when you consider the price and the amount of product you're getting, it's not that great of a deal. It is vegan. I don't love this palette. Well, here, I'll open it up so you guys can see a little bit more. I feel like I like the size. It is super compact. It's very small. If you like small palettes, this is great because you get a lot of colors, and it is just like the size of like the palm of my hand, although I kind of have man hands, but that's besides the point. I just feel like the shadows in here are very hit and miss. Some of them are good, some of them are pigmented, and some of them are not. Some of them have like little shimmer sparkles in them, but it, like, see this red, it has like little sparkles, but it's just tiny sparkles. It's like, I don't understand what the point of that is. I wish it would have just been all matte instead of having a few shades that have sparkles in them. I either want it to be full on matte or I want it to be full on metallic. I don't really like the in-between very much. So given the like small amount of product and the hit and miss of this, I just don't feel like it's my favorite or the first thing I would recommend, which is sad because it is more accessible. I feel like a lot of people can get their hands on NYX very easily, but it's just not my favorite. Alright, so next is the Laura Lee Los Angeles Party Animal palette, which I did receive as PR through BoxyCharm. This retails for $19 and it has 0.3 ounces of product. Again, with a tiny amount of product, even though the price tag seems better, the amount of product is incredibly small. Just for example, the Violet Voss palette is twice the price, but it's over 3 times. It's almost 4 times as much product. But this is vegan, so it does have a little mirror. I really like the size of this. I like the idea of this palette. I think it could have been a hit if it was done well. I mean, it's cute, it's tiny, it's only 6 shades. Like, this is like the perfect little companion palette, or at least the idea of this is the perfect little companion palette, because personally I feel like the quality in this palette is horrible. Probably one of the worst palettes I've ever tried, and that's like has nothing to do with any personal feelings against the owner or anything. I'm speaking just specifically on the quality. I feel like the mattes are sheer and hard to blend, and these shimmers are just like awful. Like sparkly pink, I guess you could get to work, but this hungover shade, it's just looks like a regular metallic. It is so hard to get on the eyes. I can't even explain the struggle that I had with this palette. I tried to use it like 3 times and I was like, yeah, no, no, never, ever. So my overall thoughts on this palette is I love the idea, I love the packaging, I love the shades, but the actual quality I just feel like is very subpar, and I would not recommend this to anyone. Unless you really like struggling with making eyeshadow work, then maybe this is for you. Alright, next I have the Violet Voss Rainbow Palette, which looks like this, and this retails for $30 and it has 1.1 ounces of product. So again, it has a nice little mirror in there, and here is what it looks like. So this is an all shimmer rainbow palette, and I do overall like this. I feel like it's definitely not a necessity in my collection, and if you have a lot of eyeshadow palettes, I probably wouldn't recommend this. It is beautiful. It has nice, beautiful shades in it. I really like the blue and the green here. I think the pink is really beautiful. I also really like this shade Pearl. It's kind of like a white gold shift. If you put it around blues, it'll look like it has a little bit of green to it, but mostly it's just white gold. I feel like these purples look pretty similar in the pan. They're not that similar, but for everything that you're having here, I wish that it would have been something a little bit more different. And then there is this black sparkly shade, which is the only different shade in this palette, and this is the one I really wish wasn't in here. So I do like this palette overall. I think it's beautiful. It's just, it doesn't really bring much to my collection personally. So maybe if you are someone who only likes to throw in a pop of colorful shimmer, if you're looking for a palette for that and you want a rainbow option, this might be for you. It is good quality. It's just, I just don't find myself personally reaching for it because it doesn't stand out in my collection. And my camera placement looks a little different. My battery just died. But moving on, next we're going to talk about the Juvia's Place Zulu palette, which this is probably one of the best options I have to talk about today. It retails for $20. I think it's super affordable. I see this on sale all the time for like $10, $12. You literally can't beat that. It has 1.14 ounces of product, so tons of product, and it is vegan as well. So here's packaging. I love the packaging on all of Juvia's Place palettes. And then here is the inside. So it is, again, just a through and through rainbow palette. You've got a yellow, an orange, a red, a purple, a green, and then a few different pops of shimmers, which are beautiful. I feel like you can definitely make a little bit more of a natural look out of this palette with like the brown and the rose gold, but you can also go really intense. I love this palette, honestly, for the price. The formula, I just feel like it's super easy if you are a beginner. I think you could like this. The mattes are kind of that same like buildable formula where it's super easy to just go in, blend it out, add another layer, and get it super intense. The shimmers are extremely foiled and just super beautiful. So I definitely recommend this to someone who wants more product, because these, I mean, it is bigger pans. I feel like it would take a lot to go through this. Someone who's looking for more of an affordable option, someone who likes more mattes than shimmers, because there are just 3 shimmer options and there are 6 matte options here. I feel like I love everything about it, the price, the quality, I feel like it's pretty accessible now that it's at Ulta and everything, at least if you're in the United States. I think Juvia's Place is also sold on Beauty Bay if I'm correct. So I feel like it's pretty kind of easier to get your hands on, and it is a black owned brand and it's an indie brand, so I love it. Alright, next I have the Blush Tribe Hasina palette, which retails for £24.99 and it has 0.987 ounces of product. I feel like this is probably the most underrated palette from Blush Tribe. I really like this, and I feel like I never hear anyone talk about it. So here is what it looks like. It has a really good mix of mattes and shimmers. There's pretty much a coordinating matte for almost every single shimmer. The top row is a little bit more neutral, but it's like you've got a green matte, a green shimmer, a blue matte, another blue shimmer. You've got a pink shimmer to go with these pinks. You've got a purple shimmer, a purple matte. This purple right here did end up getting a little bit of hard pan on me. I'm not really sure why that happened. I should try and do like the little tape trick, but I feel like overall this palette is really beautiful. I do like the quality. I feel like everything is easy to blend. You can definitely go, like I said, you can do something a little bit softer, or you can do a full rainbow with this, and you have a lot of shimmer options and a lot of matte options to do exactly what you want. So I don't know what more to say about it other than I really like the color scheme. I think it's really pretty. I like how it's laid out, and I feel like I need to do a video with this. I don't think I've done any videos with this. I've only used it off camera, so let me know if you want to see that soon and I will do it because it is really pretty. Alright, next I have the City Color Cosmetics Hypnotic palette. This retails for $9.99 and it has 0.636 ounces of product. I did receive this as PR forever ago, and I remember swatching it and being impressed, but I never did a look with it. And I actually went ahead, and I'm not sure if it's just because the palette is old or because my preferences or opinions have changed, but I did play with this a little bit, and I feel like some of the shades look really nice and foiled, but some of them are more more on the sheer side, not as like foiled. And overall, I don't know, I feel like this palette is just okay. If you are looking for a bunch of shimmer options, it's not a bad palette. It's affordable. It's only $10, so I feel like if you just want a pop of shimmer, this could be a good idea for you. So I'm kind of in between about this palette. I feel like overall it's pretty, but it's definitely not adding anything to my collection personally. I also just noticed this now and I feel kind of stupid, but one of the names that they have here is the G word, which it's not as commonly seen like this in the US, but in Europe it is considered a racial slur, and I really just don't like it. It feels very icky to me, and I'm sad to see it in this palette. That makes me not want to reach for this even more. No, I forgot a palette upstairs. Oh, I have to go get it. Dang it. Alright, so next I have the Makeup Revolution Passion for Color palette, which retails for $7 and it has 0.6 ounces of product. So I have been testing this out for like an entire week and a half, and it's kind of funny because originally, like, I tried 2 different Makeup Revolutions palettes and I didn't have that great of a outcome with them. I wasn't a huge fan, but then I saw this on the Ulta website and I was like, ooh, like, it's colorful, and I bought it on impulse. This was forever ago, and then I never used it just because I thought I wasn't going to like it, and I decided to go ahead and test it out for this video specifically, and I ended up actually liking this a lot, which was very surprising to me. So here's what it looks like. It is super affordable, which I really appreciate. Pretty accessible. I got mine through Ulta. This only has 2 matte shades, which are these 2 warm mattes right here, but I actually love those 2 shades. I like putting this in the crease and then this one on the outer V, and they blend really easily. They're very pigmented. I can use them a little bit more sheer. I can build them up, so I really like those, and I feel like this palette is perfect for someone who likes a warm crease and a little tiny pop of color. Some of the shimmer shades are a little bit more like just a sheen, but some of them are pretty foiled. I really like using this pink all over the lid. I really like this peach all over the lid. This greeny gold is really beautiful as well. I've been using like the different blues and greens as pops on the lower lash line. I think they look beautiful. So I feel like this is a really good, affordable, quick, easy option to just have a rainbow. I feel like this is more of like a jewel tone type of rainbow, but I do really like it. It's not the best eyeshadows I've ever tried, but for $7 I feel like you can't beat it, and it has kind of made me look at some of the other Makeup Revolution palettes like, maybe I would like you too. Alright, next is the Morphe and James Charles palette, which retails for $39, and it has 2.67 ounces of product, which is so much product, but also it is like a ginormous palette. It is absolutely humongous. I am just going to talk about the quality. We're not going to talk about any drama today. I'm just not even here for it. This is a half neutral, half rainbow palette, but I wanted to include it anyways because it is a more affordable option when you think of all that you're getting, and it does have the entire rainbow. So I have actually reviewed this palette before completely in a, I believe it was my Shop My Stash review for January, in case you want to hear like my full-on thoughts on this palette. And I've done so many looks with this on my channel as well. And overall, I would say if you are looking for some really nice mattes, I personally really like the mattes in here. I think that they're really easy to blend up and build up, and they get really super intense and they blend together well. And I loved all the looks that I ended up doing with this on the neutral and the rainbow side. I thought it was really nice to use. The shimmers I find to be more sheer, a little bit more lackluster, so that's why I wouldn't really give this palette an A+, is just because the shimmers, I was left wanting more from them. But overall, I think if you are looking for the matte side, I don't think that this is a bad option. I think it's pretty good. Alright, next I have the Ace Beauty Slice of Paradise palette. This retails for $34.99, and it has 0.68 ounces of product. I did read somewhere that all of their palettes are vegan, but they do not have that listed on their website, so I cannot confirm or deny. It does have a little mirror in here, and I really like the packaging on this. I just really like the blue and the pink. Something about that color combo just makes me so happy. So this is another like matte heavy rainbow palette. You have your yellow, orange, two oranges here, some pink, some purple, blue, green. There are only two shimmer options. There's like this deeper purple and this deeper green, which I probably wouldn't say are my favorite shimmer options for this entire palette as a whole. I do overall like the color story of this palette. I think it's really pretty. I know it's just a rainbow palette, but I feel like the shades do work together really well. I also really like this shade right here called Flamingo. It's such a pretty peach. Overall, not my favorite formula. It is definitely more on like the tricky to work with side. It's a little bit more sheer. I feel like if you use a bunch of colors and you try to layer everything, it can be kind of frustrating. I feel like the first color that you lay down on the base, on the tacky base, is like so good, and then whenever you try to lay something down on top of that, if it is a darker shade and it's not on a tacky base, it just does not stick as well. For this palette, I have found the best way to do it is to go from the darkest shade and blend up to the lightest, which can take a little bit more time. It's a little bit more advanced, so I probably wouldn't recommend this formula particularly to a beginner. I know I hear people say that they love it, but for me, I just found it a little bit tricky to work with. Alright, next is the Bombshell Cosmetics Sour Blast eyeshadow palette, which looks like this. On their website, it says that this retails for $49.99. No way, no way. I feel like they're one of those brands, they mark up their prices so high, and then they always have like a 30 to 50% off sale going on. It's that it's a marketing tactic to make you feel like you're saving so much money when really you're not. You're paying what it should have cost in the first place. So anyways, this is what it looks like, and it is... It's a typical rainbow palette. I do like the shimmer options in here. There's like this frosty white shade right here. There's a lime green. There's this pretty purple and this blue. I feel like this blue is a little bit more just plain metallic, but these other shades have like some really pretty sparkles in them. And I do really like the formula of those. I was a little bit disappointed with the matte shades in here just because I feel like they're kind of more on the sheer side. They're a little bit like... Even when you build them up, I feel like the way that they look in the pan is definitely not how they look on the eyes. I don't normally have that problem, specifically I feel like because I have super fair skin. Normally what I see on the palette is what happens on my eyes, because like it's like putting a shadow on a white base. Like I'm practically, like my primer color is practically white, so I feel like that's just not a problem I normally have. So I definitely wouldn't recommend this to someone with a deeper skin tone. I do not think that these shades would show up. I kind of find like this palette is just okay. It's just okay. Like I can get pretty looks out of it, but it's not anything to write home about. Alright, next is the September Rose Slush palette, and this retails for $36.60, and it has 1.94 ounces. The product is not listed on the packaging, and it's also not listed on their website, but I did DM the brand and they were super pretty quick to reply and tell me how much product was in here, so I appreciated that. I do really love the packaging of this. I think it is just so cute and it feels so summery. There's a nice little mirror there. It's actually a pretty decent mirror. You could definitely do your makeup with that. And then here is what the inside looks like. This is really, really beautiful. I actually really like the color story of this because even though it's a rainbow palette, I feel like you do have a row of each shade and you could do a lot with that. I really wanted to love this palette, and I do love parts of it, but I feel like it is a little bit hit and miss. There are certain shades in here, like specifically this blue raspberry, like it's just such a dud. You can not pick up anything from this shade. And there's some of the pink shades where it's like you pick it up and so much comes off and then nothing. And like this black currant shade, I'm pretty sure is like super sheer as well, which is disappointing. So I like the idea of this palette and I like some of the shades, but it's just, I hate having a palette that has hits and misses. It just frustrates me. I do really like this middle row overall. I think this shade Coconut Milk is such a pretty highlighting shade, and this shade Banana is the best yellow of all time. Like, I try not to use it because I don't want to use it up, but I really should just reach into this palette more and just like say screw it and just use the banana. Go bananas for this banana shade because it is the best yellow. Like, it is the most intense, brightest, creamiest yellow ever. And I really hope that at some point they come out with singles and that they release that shade as a single, or they are releasing or they're working on a, like, I think it's a Slush 2 palette. I'm just hoping. I'm like, normally I'm not into repetitive shades, but can we have like banana again, because I'm just obsessed with this shade. Like, it is such a good yellow, but it's so hard to recommend a whole palette for that yellow. All right, next I have the Ofra Bright Addictions palette. This retails for $79.99. Again, I don't know why brands feel the need to price things so high and then do coupons. I don't know what I did, but I think I got it like 40% off or something, and that must be the reason I tried it. So this has 1.64 ounces, or no, 1.69 ounces. I can't even read, which honestly is not that impressive. Like, yes, it's a good amount of product, but for the price, like, no, I cannot get on board with the price of this palette. It is like super nice magnet. It's, you know, it's very sturdy, probably be good for a makeup artist if you're traveling and whatnot. It's super comfortable to hold in your hand if that makes a difference for you, but I just do not feel like this palette is worth that. Again, with the duds, this shade right here is such a dud. It literally makes me angry to think about. Like, I could sit here and like rub as hard as I possibly can, and like I'm surprised even that came off, because I've sat here before and like tried to swatch it. Like, I didn't even swatch this for the swatches that I'm including in this video because like it's so sheer. Like, you cannot get that shade on your eyes. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what I was thinking when I bought this palette. I'm pretty sure I did a full review with this. I did 3 looks using it, and I liked the looks that I ended up doing with it, but I just can't with the duds. Alright, next I have the Blush Tribe Blossom eyeshadow palette. Not sure how much this retails for anymore because it is no longer available, but I thought I'd mention it really quickly. It has 0.9 ounces of product, and this used to be Blush Tribe's like matte, colorful palette. Here is what it looks like. And I do think the color scheme of this is really beautiful. I have done a 3 looks with 1 palette using this before. It's a little bit, again, kind of hit and miss. I wouldn't say exactly a miss, but some of like the pastel shades don't show up quite as much, and I feel like some you kind of have to build. Overall, I do like this, but I wouldn't say I like it as much as some of the other matte colorful palettes. Like, if I had to choose between this and the Tropical Wonders palette from Certify, I would choose Tropical Wonders. Like I said, this is no longer available for purchase, and I believe it's not coming back. They have replaced it now with a new palette. I think it's called the Leela Palette, if I'm correct. Man, I was itching right here and I get red so easily. But next I have the Viseart Editorial Mattes palette, which retails for $80, and it has 0.84 ounces of product. I can justify the price of this a little bit more because I feel like the quality is there and there are no duds or misses. I actually did not pay full price for this. If you use, what's the brand? Is it like called Esom? There was a deal whenever I tried Viseart. I got 2 palettes and I got like 3 free brushes, which are all like retailing for $21 each. I actually love the brushes. I use those brushes all the time. And I got it for like a super discounted price compared to buying these full price. So I was not mad at that deal at all. I did it years ago, but I feel like I've seen them still do it to this day. So I used to be absolutely in love with this palette, and I have done quite a lot of looks that I've enjoyed with this. It is just a matte rainbow palette, so it is a little bit harder to justify the price for that, again, because now I have found more affordable options. Like I said, I would choose the Tropical Wonders palette over this one. Now at this point, even though I feel like these mattes blend so beautifully, they're super easy to use, they're really nice, very beginner friendly, but it's hard to justify any price tag that high, especially when the color scheme is not that unique. So I would say years ago I loved this, I would have definitely recommended it, but now not quite as much. I mean, I still enjoy it, I like picking it up, I like using it, I like the quality. Maybe this would be a good idea for you if you are looking for an all matte palette and also a treat yourself moment at the same time. Maybe if you see it on a really good sale, it would be a good idea. I like the quality, but like I said, it's not that unique. It's funny how many palettes I'm holding up and it looks like I did my eye look with all of them, because I was just like thinking like, oh, could have done this exact eye look with this one too. Alright, next is the BH Cosmetics Take Me Back to Brazil palette, which retails for $20, although I've seen it on sale for much less. It has 1.23 ounces of product, which is pretty good, and it is vegan. So I would say I really wish I loved this palette, but I just don't. I feel like I see people rave about this, but again, it's definitely hit and miss. Some of the shades are super nice and some of them are not. And for me, when I go into a palette, I just find it's kind of frustrating to like pull and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to use this green, and then I try and go in with it. I'm not saying that green specifically is bad, because honestly, there's so many shades in here, it's hard to remember which ones are good and which ones are bad. But it sucks to go in with something thinking it'll be good and then it doesn't work, and then you're like, okay, what am I going to use instead? And you have to like, I don't know, I just don't really like that. I do really like the shades here. There's like a really beautiful like pinky duochrome, a green duochrome, and a black shade, which I think this is really smart and it does really go well with the palettes. I like the idea of this, and I feel like I wish I loved it. I wish I did, but the looks I've done with it, I feel like a lot of the shades end up looking kind of patchy. They don't want to blend as easily for me, and I just never find myself wanting to reach for this because I just don't feel like it's a really fun experience to use, even though it looks like such a fun, like it looks like a celebration in a palette, but I just don't love it. And even though like I want to like say like yes because it's affordable, I just feel like the problems I had whenever I would put it on my eye and like it would look darker in some spots and it wouldn't want to blend. And there was a time when I took this on vacation before I had even used it, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna love this palette, and it was the only palette I brought, and I was so mad, and every single day I hated my makeup using this. Alright, last but not least is the Moira Cosmetics Sweet Paradise palette, which retails for $22, and it has 1.62 ounces, which is pretty good, and it is vegan. So I was sent this through Octoly, and I tried it a while ago. I think I did like one look with it, and I thought it was nice, but I kind of forgot about it. And I pulled this palette back out to use for this video specifically so I could give my thoughts on it. And honestly, I kind of ended up falling in love. I feel like this is one of the palettes I would definitely recommend of the bunch. So here's what it looks like. It does have 4 highlighters right here, which, I mean, I feel like I don't know who the gray is gonna highlight. That's definitely an interesting choice, but I've used the gold and it is very, very golden. It's like a true like yellow gold on the cheek, and then I've also used this pink, which is pretty. I also like having these as options as an inner corner on the eye. I think that it's nice to have all those big highlighters, but what I want to focus on is the eyeshadows today, and I do really like these. I feel like the mattes are very soft and very pigmented, easy to blend. I have done so many sunset looks with this. I really like it for that. I like the different shimmer options. Like I love that there's like a true white shimmer shade, and I feel like the shimmers are super metallic, like super pretty. This shade here too, Darling Pink, like such a pretty pinky, like I don't even know how to describe it. I just really like this whole palette. I feel like this yellow is so intense, and like I said, I used this for like a full like week or so, just testing it out and doing different looks each day. I did do more neutral looks and more like pops of colors. Like I did put like this teal you love on my lower lash line a lot, just for a little pop of bluey green, and I thought that was really pretty. So overall, I really like the quality of this. I feel like this is kind of got all of it going on. Like, it's more affordable, it's vegan, it's cruelty free, it's got a lot of product, and it is really good quality in my opinion. I really want to play with this more to do like some more intense full-on colorful looks, especially with like the blues right here. They're just in the green right here. They're just really drawing me in as I'm looking at this palette. So definitely let me know if you want to see some tutorials with this, because I've only played with it off camera, I'm pretty sure, or maybe I used it once on my channel. I can't even remember, but I ended up really liking it. Alright guys, so that is everything for today's video and the Battle of the Rainbow palettes. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I definitely want to do one soon on green palettes. I've got kind of a little stash that I'm like putting together and working through and using, so I can do full reviews on. So stay tuned for that, and I think that's everything I have to say. If you have any questions on any of the palettes or anything I talked about today, please feel free to leave them down below and I'll try to get back as soon as I can. And I think that's everything, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.